Packers Nation, welcome into our live pregame show right here on the Pack-A-Day Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Herman. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. You can find the podcast at Pack-A-Day Podcast. We are presented today by Luiges Pizza. Make sure to get your game day pizza in the oven right now with Luiges Pizza. You can find them on social media at Luiges Pizza and, of course, luigespizza.com. I've got one. I got the oven preheating, I should say, right now. Don't have it in the oven yet, but the oven is preheating for my Luiges Pizza today. I don't think we're going to get a victory pizza today, but I am hoping to have a game day pizza. Sausage and mushroom is what I'm going with. Original Luigi's going to be delicious. Appreciate you guys joining me. I know we're a little bit short today. My son just had a soccer game, so just came right off of that, and we'll try to get to as many questions as I can over the next 30 minutes as we get right up until kickoff. And the one thing I did want to go over is we did get the official inactives for this game. So for Green Bay, give me 1 second here to just pull it up really quick. I had it and I lost it. Dontavian Wicks is inactive for Green Bay, as is Josh Jacobs, Quay Walker, Malik Willis, Xavier McKinney, Zach Tom, and Edgerrin Cooper. Willis is injury related. Wicks is injury related. Zach Tom is injury related. So they only had 4 players that would be healthy scratches in this game. The 4 they decided on were Quay Walker, Xavier McKinney, Edgerrin Cooper, and Josh Jacobs. Jacobs, we discussed. That one makes all the sense in the world. I thought with only 2 running backs, there'd be a chance that Jacobs is active just to be the emergency third in case both went down. Either way, did not expect him to play in this game. Quay and Cooper makes sense, although I would have expected one of them to be active since you only have 3 linebackers. If, maybe they could put Oladapo in the box. Aaron Mosby and Colin Oliver can both play some linebacker as well in a pinch. So maybe they felt okay with that as well. But that was a little bit interesting. Players that are active that I'm surprised by. Christian Watson, I thought, would have had a decent chance to be inactive for this game, especially after what happened in Week 18 last year. So that was a little bit of a surprise to me. I would assume that he's not going to play much, if at all, in this game. And then the other one is LVN, just with him having that foot injury, and they continue to talk about how it's still bothering him and things like that. I would have assumed that they would have kept him inactive as well. But again, even if they're active, we're going to see how they play. I will say this. For those of you who say, I may not be critical of Matt enough or things like that, if this is somehow some halfway sort of game where, Christian Watson plays 15 snaps and Jaden Reed plays 20 snaps and, things like that, barring injury, and all of a sudden we see a bunch of guys like Javon Bullard and Evan Williams, and I will be very critical of that, because to me, this should be a complete backup game as much as it can possibly be. You've decided you're not going to start your players. So this should be Clayton Tune at quarterback. This should be Wilson and Brooks. Well, it has to be Wilson and Brooks at running back. Kenny James and, Matthew Golden and, probably Bo Melton at wide receiver. Josh Wiley and Dabney at tight end should be basically all backups, save for probably Jordan Morgan and, Anthony Belton on the offensive line. Again, we'll see what they do. Defense, I don't need to see, much Enigbare or LVN, Rashawn Gary, we can debate if you want, if they want to play him or not. But I don't need to see Evan Williams, Javon Bullard. Just go backups, go all the way backups, go all the way in on doing that. Don't do some halfway measure where some of these guys are playing 15. I feel like there's almost a better chance of injury if you're going to do that. If Watson plays, a smattering of 10, 15 snaps, I'd rather just have him play if you're going to do that. So I just hope there's no halfway measure in this game. Play the backups, get healthy as much as you can, and get the heck out of Minnesota, back to Green Bay, and get ready for Chicago or Philly next week. Let's get to all your great questions. Who keeps the ball when Clayton throws his first touchdown to Golden? That's a good question. Got to cut that ball in half, I guess. That would be an interesting one. Clayton Tune might have. Does he have a touchdown pass from his initial? He does not. I was hoping that in Arizona when he played, he's got 23 attempts in the league. He's got 2 picks. He does have a rushing touchdown though. Okay. So Clayton Tune has a rushing touchdown. So I got to say it goes to Matthew Golden, since Tune at least has a rushing touchdown. If Golden gets his first receiving touchdown from Tune and it's Tune's first pass, I think that one's got to go to Matthew Golden. Andy, do you think Matt and the staff have just been solely focused on Chicago and Philly prep-wise this week to get an extra week of prep in, since this game today doesn't mean anything? Matt denied that this week, but I would be willing to bet that they've spent a lot of time on Chicago and Philly. I do think that they've, basically spent, some time getting ready for Minnesota. When you have this many backups that are going to play in this game, Clayton Tune, you do have to get those guys right. You can't just completely throw them to the Wolves, especially when it's like Brian Flores. That would be a rough scene. So while I don't think they've, probably done their normal, prep for this game, at least I would hope they wouldn't. I hope they're looking forward to Chicago and or Philly. But to me, you can't just let these guys be completely unprepared for Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell and just go, sheep out to slaughter. So I'm guessing they spent some time preparing for this game and trying to get these guys, especially with how many guys who've never even played in an NFL game or have played for the Packers. I'm sure that there was a lot of time, effort, and energy just getting those guys ready to play in this game. Do you think Jeff will change things up going into week 1 of the playoffs, getting more aggressive, knowing we will need turnovers to survive on defense, or still say bend but don't break the entire game? Jeezy, I hope he gets more aggressive. To be fair, he has been more aggressive than when, Micah was out there, but I think he's got to find a way to even be more so. It's tough to be aggressive when you can't stop the run. They couldn't stop the run in against Baltimore and Green Bay. And so they've got to do a much better job. We talked about it all the time during the Joe Barry era, where Joe Barry and his defense were actually really good on 3rd and long, but they just could never get into those situations. You've got to eat your vegetables on early downs. You've got to stop the run on 1st and 2nd down to get to 3rd and longs. And then you can get to all of, Jeff Hafley's exotic 3rd down looks. But in order to get there, you have to earn it first. And Green Bay did a terrible job of that against Baltimore. And it's really tough against Chicago because Chicago is going to run the ball effectively and stay ahead of the sticks as well, which makes it difficult to get in those situations. And then it's tough to get to the quarterback. And even when you do, you don't have a guy like Micah, tough to get Caleb Williams to the ground with his playmaking and just elusiveness that make it really difficult to get him to the ground. Cheesy Matt, we should just cut bait with Banks and Hobbs after 1 year and use the money saved by cutting on replacements. Banks has long injury history and Hobbs used to be called Hobbling Hobbs for a reason. We'll talk about that in the offseason, Cheesy Matt, but I don't necessarily disagree with your assessment. I expect both to be back, but I actually think if you're looking at it from a without any sort of attachment to it or law, sunk cost fallacy or anything like that, I think moving on from both is actually probably the smart move. Banks very much so, but we'll go into those in great detail once the off season's here. But I think your overall assessment is right. Go Pack, go baby. Last game of the regular season. It's been a long one, but we're here at the end and it's time for a Super Bowl push. Rest up this week and find a way to win with the backups today. I'm not expecting a win with the backups today, King Kermit, but it would be cool if they found a way. But just get out here injury-free and get to Chicago or Philly, wherever they end up going. And let's just get that game and win that game. But today doesn't matter much, but maybe they can get some good vibes going into their playoff game. All I'm hoping from here on out is that we play Chicago next week and destroy their hopes and dreams and end their season. I like it, Pokey. I want more than that. We are not the Bears. We do not just hope for, ending Chicago's season like Chicago hopes to end Green Bay's or just get one win against Green Bay. We have higher expectations than that. So that in and of itself is not enough, but it would be a nice feather in the cap along the way to eliminate Chicago. And I would say shut up some fans along the way, but we know that's never going to happen because Bears fans are mostly tone deaf. So it is what it is, but hopefully Green Bay can win against Chicago next week if that does in fact end up being the game. Let's get some super chats quick. Juan Garcia, if Tune gets hurt, punt and play Gary 140 snaps. Yeah, if Tune gets hurt, I would expect you're going to see a crap ton of handoffs from Jordan Love, and I don't think they have any desire to put him in harm's way. So I would think we would see a lot of running in that situation. Joe Trev 1, maybe this is a Flores legacy game, gets him a head coaching job and out of the division. Maybe he's got that weird stuff with what happened in Miami and like kind of suing the league and things like that. And I think teams are just kind of basically not touching that situation. So I don't think he gets a head coaching job. I would love if he did somewhere in the AFC specifically, but yeah, we'll see. I don't think that's going to happen, but hey, he deserves it. He's been phenomenal in Minnesota and is probably more than deserving of another head coaching opportunity. All right. Yes, I've indeed lost my mind, but that's just the type of season we have. I get it, Pokey. I get it. Go Pack Go, JHG. Thanks for being here. Will Detroit ruin our chances to knock the Bears out in the wild card round? Even if they do, Philly is still favored against Washington, even sitting their backups. You have to hit a 2-game parlay to face Philly, which means you have to have an upset of Detroit over Chicago, and you have to have an upset of Washington over Philly. The overwhelming odds are that Green Bay goes to Chicago next week, but there is still the possibility if somehow Detroit and Washington pull off wins today. The legend of Tyron Hopper begins today, first game of 26. He has played a few snaps here and there this year, but first game of 26. Yes, you're correct in that. I thought you meant Hopper's first game of the year, but no, we should see a lot of Tyron Hopper in this game. We will see it. There's only 3 linebackers active with Hopper, Jamin Johnson, and Isaiah McDuffie, so it should be a fun player to kind of keep an eye on in this one. Special teams penalty, what's the over-under? 1.5? I'll take the over. At least 2 special teams penalties today would be my guess. Packers to the bowl, baby. Let's do it, King Kermit. Better scenario, lost today, but Packers look good and Vikings getting the worst pick, or win with players looking underwhelming, but maybe adding some momentum. I'll take the first one. I don't want players to look underwhelming. I'd rather they look good. The win or loss doesn't matter at all. So give me the loss with the Packers looking good in that scenario. Time for another Emmanuel Wilson showcase. He's going to have to do some heavy lifting. I'm assuming he's not going to get much help on the offensive line. Again, tough to say for sure. I haven't, because I was at the soccer game ahead of this, I haven't had a chance to kind of keep track of the tweets to see what the starting offensive line has been in warmups. Starting defensive line per Schneidman is Sorrell, Cox, Stackhouse. All right. So this basically tells me what I need to know, is that they are going, Nixon and Valentine at corner though. Why is Williams playing safety? And why is Kitano Ladapo not? All right. So starting defense in warmups per Schneidman is Sorrell, Cox, Stackhouse, Brinson, McDuffie, Hopper, Johnson, Nixon, Valentine, Williams, and Baldwin. I have no issue with any of that except Evan Williams. There is zero reason Evan Williams, and there's no reason that should not be Kitano Ladapo. So that's my only complaint there. Everything else makes sense. I'm fine with giving Nixon and Valentine reps. They've looked like crap lately, so give them the opportunity to get right. But I have no idea why you'd play Evan Williams in that situation. That seems absurd. That seems absurd. Everything else makes sense. That tells me mostly what I need to know too. If on offense, it's probably going to be a lot of backups on the offensive line. Diggs getting an INT today and in the playoffs. All right, I'm cool with that. I'd be totally cool with that. Just get out of here without any injuries. That's all I want. That's the number one key to this game. Just try to stay as healthy as humanly possible. Zach's on the same page. That Cowboys tie literally saved the season. I was looking at it like a half loss all year when we should actually look at it as a half win, glass half full. There's a lot of interesting scenarios, I think, if Green Bay has a tie in that game, a loss in that game instead of a tie. And I'm thankful that we don't have to live through those scenarios. I have to look at it to see if there's anything different if they actually won that game instead. But either way, it is what it is. They got the 7 seed. It all comes down to next week against Chicago or Philly. Your show today was excellent for a pregame that does not matter. Gravedigger, thank you so much for that. I was excited about doing it just because I think some of these conversations are really nerdy and fun of who to kind of keep an eye on in this game. And there are fun storylines in this one. Storylines is maybe the wrong word, but just fun players to keep an eye on. And again, I'm really excited to see Colin Oliver for the first time. Barron Sorrell get a full helping of snaps. Tyron Hopper, Jamin Johnson. We'll see Trayvon Diggs at corner. A couple of those other guys I would think that we haven't seen get an opportunity. Keeney James at wide receiver. A lot of Matthew Golden. Do we get Jordan Morgan at left tackle? I'll be interested at that. There's a lot of fun stuff to kind of keep an eye on. Clayton Tune to see if he gets to audition for this backup quarterback role next year, if he plays well in this one. So some fun stuff. I think it's going to be ugly, but there could hopefully be a couple fun performances from young players that maybe open some eyes a little bit. How is Valentine falling off so fast that like 1 month ago you suggested a 3 or $45 million deal for him? Now it seems like you can barely play him. Yeah, it happens quick in the NFL when you put bad tape out there. And I thought at the beginning of the year, there was the bad game against Dallas. He played really poor against Dallas. And then he really locked in, really good in coverage. And the tackling was for the most part better. And then over the course of the last month or so, tackling's been worse. He's now my lowest graded player on the team on the season. And the one thing you could count on was pretty sticky coverage from Valentine, even if the other stuff was shaky at times. And he's been very suspect in coverage as of late. So when you're struggling in coverage, you're struggling to tackle and nothing's going right for you. Well, then you get yourself in a very different context than you were prior to that when you were playing some pretty damn good football. Looney Tune time. Well, I see what you did there. We'll see if the Packers can carry a tune today. A couple of bad puns there. Really hope they consider Morgan next week at left tackle if he's good today. I talked about it as well, Ralph. Morgan's played really well the last couple weeks. Really might be aggressive, but he's played well. He's played starting caliber football. Rashid is not. Rashid is not. So we'll see if he gets the opportunity at left tackle today. I haven't seen again the tweets of who's lined up with the starting offensive line, but I would love to see him get reps at left tackle. And if he looks good, I would start him next week instead of Rashid Walker. Clayton is going to play out of his tune today. All right. He's going to drop more dimes than Bud granted by the Coke vending machine in the Vikings locker room. Go Pack. All right, JHG. Glad you're fired up. The only two things I'm interested in is Oliver and to see if Diggs can hold up in coverage if they play at all. I would assume both of them will play. And I think both of those are two of the more fun players to keep an eye on in this game for sure. No question about it. Golden scores his first touchdown today. I will be happy if they score a touchdown today. The over-under on how many touchdowns they score is at a half. And like I said, I think this is going to be 24 or 27-6 Vikings, 27-6 Vikings. And it just is it 2 field goals or is it a touchdown and a failed 2-point conversion? We'll see. But I'll be happy if they get a touchdown today. I'll just put it that way. And Bo is an emergency third running back. I would be curious who the third running back would be in that scenario. You kind of need Bo at wide receiver. And there isn't an obvious situation. Maybe Keeney James, but again, you kind of need Keeney James as a receiver as well. You could put Jaden Reed in the backfield. I don't think they have any real interest in doing that. So I don't know. If Wilson and Brooks would both go down hurt, your guess is as good as mine. I would think Keeney James, Bo Melton, Jaden Reed would be your 3 real options. I don't know if any of these players on defense have ever played running back before. Has Trayvon Diggs played running back? Could you hand it to him? I don't know. But I'd be interested, to say the least. Can Colin Oliver play some running back? He's got some good size and speed. That'd be a fun one. Starting a prayer circle that the Bucs special teams meltdown last night leads to a Bisaccia reunion in Tampa. Well, Green Bay's got to get rid of Bisaccia first. I don't know. That has to be the first thing that happens. It's not like he's a free agent. Cooking dinner in Germany and tuning in. A lot of tune puns today. A lot of tune puns. Hope that after the Liverpool game, we can have some better luck with our Packers. I know it's difficult to win with many backups, but at least give a fight. We'll see. I don't like our chances in this one, Mike. I think it's going to be ugly, but hopefully I'm wrong. I think it will be backups with Tune, and if Love has to play, starters will come in. I think it'll be backups with Tune, and if Love has to play, I think he's literally just handing off every play. I think it's going to be some very dishonorable football if that's the case, and just getting out of the game and handing off every single time. Even if they're down 7 game on the line, I think it's going to be Jordan handing off. I don't think he would throw the ball. He shouldn't. Honestly, if it's me, I probably even put, I don't know, because I don't know if you want Jaden Reed in there either, but I'd probably do something. I might even just go Bo Melton, just say you're running read option. I might do something like that. I don't know that I would put Love in this game almost no matter what. Today might be a brutal watch, but we'll all be worth it when the Packers head to Chicago next week and beat the Bears. That's the plan, Adam. That's the plan. Wilson 30 carries today. I think it'll be under, but I think he's going to get a heavy workload for sure. Andy, I have a degree in data science, and I was wondering how you keep your player grades and if you'd be interested in being able to do deep analysis on them. Yeah, I have them all in Excel. If you want to take a deep dive into it, you could take a look at it for sure. Just shoot me an email, Drew, and we can take a look at something. I don't know how much there is to glean from it, but if you want to take a look at it, you certainly could. What do you actually think? He'll be on the team next year, JJ McCarthy, but they will bring in heavy competition. It's not just going to be some, Carson Wentz. They will bring in a starting caliber quarterback to compete. And if I had to guess, my guess is JJ McCarthy's the backup going into next year. Rumor has Flores to Vegas. Awesome. That'd be great. Flores to Vegas with DeVille as offensive coordinator. Okay. Lions did blow out the Bears. I think the Lions have a real legitimate chance to win today. Would not be surprised at all with a Lions win. So we'll keep an eye on that in the 3:30 window or 3:25 window, but I would not be stunned whatsoever if this was a Lions victory over the Bears. Clayton Tune has the best chance to channel his potential inner Matt Flynn. We'll see. I don't like the odds of that happening. I thought Philly needs to win with the Chicago loss to hop to the 2 seed and play the Packers. You keep saying Washington needs to win. Sorry if I misspoke. Sorry. Sorry, you're correct. I am incorrect. Okay. So Chicago win and Philly win. You're correct. And Philly is in. So Philly's still favored. You're right, Killer. And I think I maybe said that wrong in the podcast today. So, no, here's what I said, Killer. And maybe I misspoke. I keep getting it maybe mixed up in my head. In order for Chicago to stay the 2 seed, right? In order for Chicago to stay the 2 seed, either Chicago win or Washington win. In order for Chicago to stay the 2 seed, either of those can happen. Either Washington win or Chicago win. In order for it to jump, in order for Philly to become the 2 seed, Philly would need to win. So sorry if I misspoke on that, but I think what I said earlier and what I meant to say is that in order for Chicago to stay as the 2 seed, again, either win or a Washington win, one of those two. Sorry if I misspoke on it. Maybe we make McCarthy look like Joe Montana today to ensure the Vikings don't sign anyone who compete with him for starting duties next year. They'll do that no matter what. They will definitely do that no matter what. Yeah, the Williams thing kind of pisses me off, if I'm being honest, Trent, excuse me. I would not play Evan Williams at all in this game. Andy, Happy New Year from the 7th seed to the Super Bowl. Then we lose and don't do that. Don't put that evil on us. 15 PL45H6. We don't want a loss in the Super Bowl. Hopefully we get more games, but if we only get these next 2, how do you judge Trayvon Diggs with only 2 games played if we want to keep him? I mean, you just judge the tape, quite frankly, is all you're basing it on, how he's done in the locker room, how he's done in practice. There's no way you're keeping him on that contract. So either way, you either need to release him and then talk about bringing him back from there, or just work on a modified deal. But he's not going to be back on the contract he's on. And then if you want him back at all, you just base it on as much tape as you have, which will likely be this week, next week, and then again, whatever practice film that you have. Yeah, no idea why Evan is playing. Doesn't make any sense to me. Should be Catan. Should absolutely be Catan. My pink stinks. Andy Herman, that's me. Thanks for being here. Okay, so we got left tackle Jordan Morgan. Let's see. That's exactly what I said. That was my prediction today. So that's awesome. This is what I wanted it to be. This is what I expected it to be. And this makes the most sense. So thanks for that, Adam. And I'm very happy they're going with that. The only thing that doesn't make any sense to me, if it's true, is that Evan Williams is playing at safety. That's the only thing that doesn't make sense so far. Let's get a win today. It doesn't matter, but I will definitely take one. Andy, I want the Bears to lose today. I know beating Chicago in the playoffs would feel great, but if we lose, Bears fans will be unbearable for it. They're unbearable no matter what. They're unbearable no matter what. We can win 40-0 and they'll come up with some excuse and then talk about how they beat us because of an onside kick recovery and yada, yada, yada. So they're unbearable no matter what. So go in there, beat Chicago, try to steal their joy. That's awesome. I love that. And again, this should be an audition for next week for Jordan Morgan. If he plays well, he should be the starter at left tackle next week. Have every confidence we beat the Bears in Chicago. Seattle, I'm not so sure about, to put in it lightly. What's the key to making a run? I mean, just getting hot at the right time and turnovers. They got to win the turnover battle in every game, and they got to get hot at the right time. Jordan's got to play great football. I mean, it probably comes down to, can you be better in the trenches? Can you win the turnover battle? Can Jordan Love play great football for a 4-game stretch? That's kind of the keys, in my opinion. Not sure why Love is the backup. No, they got so many call-ups, but it's that kind of a crucial one. Yeah, we talked about this. If it's me, kind of looking at it in hindsight, I'm probably releasing Shamar Bartholomew, and I'm calling up, especially if Evan Williams is going to play, because now you can have Jalen Simpson, again, focus more on corner. Hell, if you're going to play Evan, then you can play Bullard at slot too. I would have released Bartholomew and brought up, and brought up Ritter. It just gets tough because you're going to play, I think, everyone else heavily in this game. But looking at knowing that Nixon and Valentine look like they're going to start at corner and Evan Williams is going to be at safety, and now you have Trayvon Diggs, Jonathan Baldwin, Jalen Simpson, Bullard's active, etc. To me, you could have got away with not having Shamar Bartholomew active in this game and activated Clayton too. And I think he's the only one, activated Desmond Ritter. I think he's the only one that kind of makes sense. I think you kind of needed everyone else, but that's in hindsight, or just looking at it now, probably what I would have done differently if I were Green Bay. I say, let's just have fun with this game. I'd like to be competitive, but not expecting it. Go Pack, go. Absolutely, Sasha. Absolutely. Let's try to. Here's how you do it. You're playing a ton of backups in this game, right? You're not. You're not aggressively trying to win this game, but you still game plan and try to figure out with the players that you have how to put together a successful, game in this one. I don't expect it, but you're still trying to go out and win. The guys that are out there are still going to try to play hard and find a way to get through Minnesota. So I don't expect it, but I'm hoping they can find a way to have some fun, maybe a couple trick plays here or there, and just see if they can get some things going and maybe find a way to pull off a win in Minnesota. Chris thinks they'll get a touchdown today. I hope you're right, Chris. Way too much money on this game for us not to score a touchdown. I hope that's not true, Joey. If it is, I hope you've bet Minnesota. We could see Bo at corner today, but again, the issue is, assuming you don't want to play Reed, Watson, and Dobbs in this one, much if at all, your only three other wide receivers are Melton, Keeney James, and then Golden. So unless you want to play those guys, I think Bo has to play a ton at wide receiver today. By the way, Andy, Seattle, my goodness, they will be a formidable opponent, whoever has to face them, big time. Unbelievable defense. The host Sleeper only has Brandon McManus and Clayton Tune for players to pick. Is that true today? Let's, speaking of which, thank you for the segue. Let's get our comment out of the way here. We've got Sunday Night Football. We've got Pittsburgh and Baltimore, potentially Aaron Rodgers' last game. We're going with Derrick Henry, more than 94.5 rushing yards. Aaron Rodgers, fewer than 33.5 passing attempts. And Kenneth Gainwell, more than 27.5 receiving yards in this game. You can get any of your picks in that you want over on Sleeper. The best part is you can get a 100% match up to $100 by utilizing code PACKADAY. Get 100% match up to $100 by utilizing code PACKADAY. See Sleeper for details, terms, and conditions apply. Available in over 25 states nationwide. So get those picks in for your noon slate, your 3:30 slate, your 7 p.m. game, your last Sunday night football game of the regular season tonight already. Should be fun. And then, of course, playoffs coming up next week. Huge shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring today's show. Let's get to our super chats, and I'm going to get out of here, get ready for this game. It's tune time, 40-0 Packers, Cheddarhead. If it's 40-0 Packers, you can come host the pregame show with me next week on the live pregame show ahead of Packers Bears or Packers Eagles next week. Steve Smith Sr. gave Golden a B+ grade. Golden's been really good in limited playing time and in limited opportunities. He's going to be a really good wide receiver. I really don't have much doubt about it at all. I'm really, really excited about him moving forward, and he should get a really good opportunity in today's game. Bears lost and Philly win. Pack goes to Philly. Any other scenario? Correct. And sorry if I misspoke, but yes, that is the only scenario. So what I've been trying to say the entire time is if Bears win, Bears are in the 2 seed. If the Eagles lose, no matter what, the Bears are in the 2 seed. The only scenario where it's not the Bears is if the Bears lose and the Eagles win. That's the only one. All right. Think that's going to do it for our pregame show here. Who knows? I have no idea if Rodgers' last game is tonight. I don't even think Rodgers knows, quite frankly. I don't think he knows. Obviously, if they win tonight, then it's not. He would play next week. But assuming they would lose, your guess is as good as anybody's. And again, I bet Aaron doesn't even know. All right, friends, enjoy the game. I will be halftime. Luigi's Twitter handle. All right, so go to @Luiges Pizza on Twitter, and I'll be live at halftime for a live halftime show. And then immediately following the game, live post-game show. Should be fun. Make sure to check it out. Regardless, win or lose, we'll talk about, kind of who played well and what kind of takeaways we have, and kind of keep an eye on that, Lions and Bears game as well. So enjoy your game day. Last one of the regular season. And hopefully it's not the penultimate game of the season. Hopefully they have more than one remaining. But either way, should be fun. Enjoyed, everyone. I'll see you guys at halftime. Until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.